Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 1 of X-Men, Before the Fall, Sons of X, written by Spurrier. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. It should be noted that this issue begins with an alarming development as chaos is rapidly spreading throughout the world, as the damage to the X gene continues to affect mutants. As a result, they are wreaking havoc in various locations, ranging from New Jersey to London. Unfortunately, nowhere seems to be completely safe from its effects, and to add insult to injury, on the following page, we see Nimrod standing victorious over Legion, one of the most powerfulest mutants to ever live. But luckily down in the corner of the page, we see a shocked Legion saying "run it again." As this dream circuit kicks back off, for this clash between these two titans is a simulation of a potential battle outcome between Nimrod and Legion. Meanwhile, we see Banshee kneeling without the spirit of variance within him, for when he woke up that morning, all his memories of Vox Ignis completely erased, along with several months of time missing. So with that established, Banshee and the team continue to observe as Legion repeatedly runs simulations, knowing that Orchis is preparing for another assault, for Orchis has already made their initial move by infecting the X gene, which causes it to mutate uncontrollably in order to spread their anti-mutant message. And as for Nightcrawler, he was among those who were affected and later held captive. So with their friend being taken, Legion must be positive that he is strong enough to free him and take out Nimrod if a fight was to happen. But unfortunately, all signs points towards him losing, for each time he ran the simulation, victory always went to Nimrod for two reasons. A. Nimrod was able to adapt faster than Legion, and B. Legion was still recovering from Charles's psychic attack in the previous issue. So with exhaustion kicking in, David called for a break as both him and Ruth noticed that Banshee spirit was missing, and as for Sean himself, his reality seemed all buggered up and broken into a trillion parallel universes, which currently leaves him a shell of himself. Because in the past, someone helped him and bonded him to the spirit, which ultimately gave him the strength to carry on. But now that same individual ripped the spirit back out, reopening the scar. Now this was alarming, for Legion concluded that this could have something to do with the timeline alteration, with the sins of Sinister being averted and everything. So with Sean's permission, Legion took a peek behind the curtain only to see the mother waiting, saying "what is it worth," which was her form of sending out an invitation. So with an invite given, Legion responded, as he along with Banshee and Ruth journeyed deep within the astral plane, where they are met by a golden door. But see, unlike the other mutants, Legion was not impressed in the slightest. For when they entered, Mother Righteousness stood waiting, with the knowledge of their missing friend's location, saying the hard part isn't finding them but it is getting them out. And all she wanted in return was to know if they were willing to put their faith in her. But before they could answer, Sean couldn't help but to ask why he kept seeing her face in his head, as Ruth also had some questions of her own. Like why does she alone have memories of a rotten timeline? Which the mother had no problem answering, for she tells her visitors that it took her some doing, as well as a lot of magic, including Banshee's soulmate, referring to the spirit of variance, to serve as fuel to pull it off. So with that said, the mother takes one of her glowing spheres and tells Legion that in the future, she went around collecting stories of people's biggest regrets, and without warning, she shows him their encounter by jamming it in his mind. And at that moment we as the viewer, along with Legion, learned his biggest regret was that he wished that he learned as a leader sooner, that a real leader doesn't push or pull, but instead lifts everyone up. So with that cross-dimensional wisdom given, the mother states that the first one is always free, as David asked what happened next. Which she goes on to tell him that he ascended into the sky, blissed right out of reality into some higher plane. And if she was being honest with him, she assumes he could do it right now, if he really wanted to, if he wasn't so depressed about wanting respect from his father. So with Legion's interest piqued, the mother goes on to offer him a deal, which was that she could help him take down Nimrod, for she knows the trick in doing so from a previous timeline, in return for some gratitude and a little love. So with the bargain struck, we skip over to the Orchis Bloom station orbiting Earth, where we see several scientists talking before an alarm goes off, for Legion has arrived at the station and is about to confront Nimrod. And in his superior attitude, he states that he knows that Legion has indeed run the simulations and discovered that despite him having an infinite variety of powers, he is still limited to the pressing speed of his meaty body. And because of that, he cannot adapt as swiftly as himself, which makes him outclassed. Which Legion confirms to be true, but luckily for him, he did not come to fight, but rather to share some stories. And just like that, Legion transformed into the mother, for this whole thing was a setup from the start as she shoves an orb into Nimrod's face. As she states, they gave you a heart, and you lost it after a single beat. But the echo remains, doesn't it? Because he is more than a poor little tin man. So as that plays out, we skip over to the real Legion as he finds Kurt locked away in a prison. So as he works on setting him free, we return back to the mother, saying how Nimrod has a soul in there, for she could feel Warlock calling out. So with that said, she goes on to say that Nimrod tells himself that he is a big brain that can outthink anyone, but in actuality, his true story is that he can't absorb the world, can't hack lives, can't destroy people's stories. For she has seen him fall in another future, in another dead timeline. I have seen you crushed, all your cold brilliance, your savage intellect, your speed and strength swamped by the unquenchable virtue of the enemy. Because they will do anything for each other, which is why you will never be greater than you are without a Queen of Hearts to guide you. So with that shocking revelation, Nimrod orders an all forces withdraw, and to activate Purge Defenses, for the enemy has the advantage. So as he disappears, the mother says that they will speak again. So on the next page, we see the Purge Defense in full swing as the ship airlocks are open, as the vacuum of space threatens to pull them out. For Legion tries with all his might to keep them all together, as he calls out for Righteous to aid them. But to his surprise, Margale Zardos cuts off Legion's head as they are sucked out into space. So with the team seemingly gone, Margale tells Orchis that her job is complete and she is taking her son, Nightcrawler, with her. But before she could do so, the mother shows up and states that she will be the one to take Nightcrawler, which pissed her off, for that wasn't a part of her deal with her. For the mother was the one who empowered Margale to begin with, which allowed her to master her magic, and because she thanked her, the mother can now lay claim to her powers no matter how much she amass over time. So with Margale absorbed into an orb, the mother opens the airlock, allowing the team back in. So with everyone saved, we transition sometime later to the Savage Lands where the mother performed the ritual to fix the X-gene, and just to prove that it worked, she cut down Dr. Nemesis with Nightcrawler Spark. So with that problem solved, the team was now able to cut down the remaining monsters with the guarantee that they will return good as new when resurrected. But one thing remained, and that was fixing Kurt, and the only way to do that was by returning the spark back to him, which to no one's surprise, she was unwilling to do so, for she rather liked it. So with this newest issue developing, Legion let the mother know that he thanked her for helping them, but they really do need the sword to help Nightcrawler, and that he prefers not to fight her because she did help them, but he would if he had to. So with the word thank you being said, the mother immediately went to absorb his soul, for that was all she wanted to hear. For nothing compares to the power boost she would gain with his gratitude. So as she slowly sucked out his soul, he tells him that for all his power, there is nothing you can do to stop her, because he let her in his heart. And the reason why he can't escape the pull is because she is now within his heart. So with David fighting for his very existence, he threatens her with ascending, like shown in the vision from earlier. But unfortunately, the mother burst his bubble by saying once he ascended to the higher plane, her brother swallowed him whole, for the Dominion was waiting for him. So with that said, the mother needs Legion's power to ascend, for he is the missing key she needs to pull it off. Which in a twist of events, Legion states that he already knows, for as she was taking his powers, he rummaged through her mind and figured out everything. And during that time, he had Ruth evaluate everyone from the altar with the exception of Legion's mind and herself. So with that said, Legion has all her knowledge and possibilities stored within the altar. For Kurt did the right thing by bargaining with her because Kurt is the key to saving everyone. So as the team attacks the mother from all angles, Legion gets a hold of the spark and tosses it to Kurt. And in a blinding fury, Nightcrawler teleports all around her with the blade in hand cutting free all the orbs, and before he could deliver the killing blow the mother let out a massive blast that killed everyone around her, but in return left the mother alone without Legion. So with everything said and done, we pick up a little bit later with Nightcrawler and his team being resurrected, with Charles having a small conversation with Kurt. Because Charles has no idea what went down in the Savage Lands, for Kurt's memory backup didn't cover it. So ultimately it's like David completely vanished alongside the altar, because when they checked it, it was completely emptied, which means the temple gate now goes absolutely nowhere. So with David gone in the wind, Nightcrawler makes his way to the bar to contemplate the options before him. And after great deliberation, we pick up with Cyclops talking to Kurt on a mountain in Krakoa. For Cyclops brought terrible news that involved the death of 3 prime ministers, 1 chancellor, and 2 royal heirs, all of which were from nations that rejected Krakoan friendship. And when they were found, they were ripped to shreds by a teleporting mutant with blue fur. But see, despite all of that, no one believes that Kurt would ever do anything like that without being under someone else's control. So with that news out there, Kurt lets Scott know that he came to Krakoa to be the spark that leads the way, but due to current events, he knows that he must leave, for in due time the humans will come for revenge. So as they stand before a painting created by weaponless Zen, Nightcrawler tells Cyclops that he is leaving the Krakoa, for he doesn't want to endanger the island. And more importantly, he tried so hard to navigate this dream with joy and hope, with his conscience held before him, and yet it seems to him that one of the dangers of trying to become a people is that they forget how to be people. For Homo sapiens and Homo superior both start with the root word for human. So as Cyclops tries to stop him from leaving, Nightcrawler lets him know that Storm could have his vote on the council until a replacement is chosen, and as for everyone else, tell them I love them, tell them I'll be back when they need me. And with those words Kurt bamf into a cloud of smoke. So with that said, issue number 1 of X-Men, Before the Fall, Sons of X comes to an end. So down in the comment section below let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.